Good evening. Tonight we're going to be making olive bread. I'm going to give you step by step how to do it. Let's go through the ingredients first. First we have a stick of unsalted butter. You want this to soften a little bit. If you're in a rush or in a pinch, throw it into the microwave and just melt it. Don't completely melt it, but you can soften a little bit in the microwave. But you got that. You're going to use some real mayonnaise. Doesn't matter what kind, just make sure it's not Miracle Whip. Miracle Whip is too sweet. So you're going to use mayonnaise. You're going to use about a cup. I'm not going to measure it, but it's about what you're going to do. You're also going to use a can of black olives. This is the medium size. And then just one can. And what you're going to do is, I've already chopped some up. I'm going to chop a little bit more. But you're just going to slice them into little slices. You can have them if you want. Doesn't really matter, whatever your preference is. I'm slicing them because my green olives are already sliced. So that's the only reason I'm slicing them that way instead of halves. Green, and you want green olives. Like I said, you can either buy the sliced or you can buy the whole and slice them yourself. I don't mind slicing one olive. I don't want to slice two. It's just too much work. I like to cut, so we'll just do the one. You also want a package of shredded mozzarella cheese. You can shred your own, but a lot of times I like to shred my own because it's creamier. But I've realized that I like to use the pre-shredded in stuff like pizzas because it holds it together better. Stuff in casseroles or lasagnas, anything like that. Macaroni and cheese where it can just be gooey and all over the place. I shred my own. And then you want a loaf of bread. I like the Italian bread because it is flatter. If you can use the French bread too, I've used it before. But the French bread is more round, so it doesn't lay on the pan right. And I'll kind of show you that later. But the Italian bread is wider and flatter, so it lays better. But let's get started. Let me finish cutting my olives here so I can show you. I just take an olive, cut it in thirds. Again, completely up to you. You can take these olives and cut them in half. I've done that before. It's a little, I don't really care to do it that way just because you just, threw that one clear over there. It's just easier to make on the bread. So I have a cat that's not allowed on counters and he knows it, and I'm not sure why he's doing it. Get down. I did not hit him off the counter. I gently nudged him to know his direction of going. Okay. Again, so I use a can of these. And then my green olives, again, I don't measure. I'll put the rest of this half jar in. That might be good enough. I'll kind of mix it in with the black to see the ratio. It's about the same. Most of my stuff I don't measure. Unless it's a new recipe, then I'll measure it until I get the idea. And then, yeah, just however you like it. Just little thirds. Okay, there we go. And we're gonna clean up our spot here. You'll notice I clean up as I go because it drives me crazy to clean up later. Okay, then we're going to take our green olives, and you got a lot of juice in here, so we kind of want to drain as much as we can, and we're going to kind of be able to do that with our fingers too. My hands are clean. Don't have to worry about that. So I've got 2 handfuls, 3. We're probably just going to use this jar. I'm probably not going to open the other one because I think that's a good amount. So back to the olives. I use black and the green. You can use whatever olives you want. If you want to make it all green olives, you can, all black olives. If you want to use the fancy garlic stuffed green, or I'm saying it wrong, I'm sure, but calamanardi or whatever it's called. I've got a couple jars of them over there. That would be really good. But the ones I bought still have the pits in them, so we're not gonna mess with those. So we're just gonna kind of eyeball this a little bit. I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's good. I actually maybe want a little bit more green. Yeah, I want more green. Green is probably my favorite. And then the black after. Sorry. I don't have the strength that I used to, so I use my fancy jar gripper. My hands are still wet. Okay. All right. I'm gonna drain it just a little bit. Just a little bit, and I'm just gonna put another handful or two in there. Probably not worth opening another jar, but we'll eat them. Okay, so as you can kind of see, this is what it looks like. Good variety. Again, your preference. If you prefer more black, if you prefer more green, whatever. Okay, so let's set those aside. Next, let's go ahead and mix our mayo, just so that can get going. So in here we have a stick of butter, pretty soft, manageable. Yes, I know, I touched the butter, now I'm touching the mayonnaise with the same one. It's fine. Nothing will hurt nothing. Okay, we're gonna do just a tad bit more. So maybe 4 decent spoonfuls, but you can kind of see what it looks like. Again, measure it if you want. So all you're gonna do is mix this together. I wanna be sure you can see this. If you melt the butter, it's gonna be a lot easier to mix and spread. This is pretty soft. I just need to use a little bit. You are ridiculous tonight. You want so much attention. He's not gonna get it right now. So, as you can see, I'm just kind of mashing the butter into the mayo. Now, doesn't have to be perfect, because once that butter melts onto the bread when you stick it in the oven, it's really not gonna matter. It's all gonna spread out eventually. I use salted butter, just what I buy for everything. If it's not salted, it doesn't make sense to me. I know. Okay, that's good enough. I don't know if you can see, we still have a few little butter clumps, but like I said, it'll melt. Not worried. Okay, let's set that aside. And we're going to set both of these over here. Excuse me. Right now I'm going to preheat my oven, 350. Just let that go while we get our bread ready. Okay. So this is our bread, whole loaf. Not sliced, not cut in half, none of that. So we're going to use a knife, and all we're going to do, if you can see this, kind of start, I don't like to start up here. I don't know why. It just, to me, it squishes it. It doesn't really matter, but I kind of eyeball the center, because you want to get in there as even as possible. So even though our bread line might start here, back here, you're going to want to start up here just a little bit. This bread is so soft. I actually had bread in the freezer to use for tonight, and I forgot to take it out this morning, and I forgot to text Ezra and tell him to take it out of the freezer for me. So I had to stop and buy it on my way home. So you're just gonna cut it open like that, okay? You can go back through here on the other side. Just try not to. There we go. Okay, all of this stuff falls out, leave it out. In fact, this right here, I'm just gonna take out bits and pieces of it just because I don't wanna mess with it. I don't wanna mess with it when I'm spreading on my butter. I figured it didn't want to be there because it came out, so you're not going to be there. It'll be fine. I don't have little pockets of mayonnaise down here, but it's going to be fine. So see how this is wide, and then see how these lay flat. You can't really see them like that. So see how they're wide and flat, because when I put them on the cookie sheet, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get both of them on this sheet. Let's just find out. You don't have to line your pan. I always do. So much easier to clean up. So, I made it a little uneven, but it's all right. Gets the job done. So we're going to put one here, and I don't think, yep, they're both going to fit. So, I really prefer not to have it this way. If you can look and see how big this is compared to this. I kind of like to have them even. Call it OCD if you want, because I like to put them more side by side. That way, I can just spread all the toppings on and the cheese on and the toppings on. And then if they fall off, they're going to fall onto the other piece. It's all going to mash together, but we've got a little bit of a difference here. It's not a huge deal. As you can see, I just turned it around so my higher piece is over here. I'm going into it way too much. Ignore that. Do it however you like. All right, then what we're going to do is we're going to take our butter and mayonnaise, and we're going to take half of it and slop it on this half, and half of it, slop it on this half, okay? All you do, clean out your bowl. Don't waste any. You're going to need it. This is going to be like the glue. Okay, spread it out as much as you can. Again, I've got butter clumps. Those are gonna melt. Not worried about it. This bread has some little holes in it, so we're gonna get some gooey down in there. We're just gonna spread this on. That's the ice maker making us some ice. You can really tell the butter clumps here, but it's fine. Not worried about it. Okay. Next, I could make it bigger so you guys can see a little bit better. Get the idea. You're just basically spreading. You want to go through the edges as much as possible because that's how your olives are going to stick on, and you want to pile these olives on. It is olive bread. Don't be shy with the olives. Don't be stingy. All the way to the end. Okay. Good enough. Good enough. All right. All right. There we go. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to put just a tad bit of cheese on this now, just to give another little layer of glue to hold the olives on. So we don't want to lose any if possible. Just a tad bit. I would say maybe 3/4 of a cup to a cup between both loaves. Just enough. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to take all these olives and we're going to pile them on 2 loaves of bread, or two things of bread. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to take the handful and you're going to, when you put them on, kind of mash them on there. Okay, we want them to stick. as much as possible. So layer them out, mash them on. Loaded olive bread. Trust me, with all these olives, you will thank me later for piling these on. Do both sides and then go back and throw it in. That way you're guaranteed to have plenty of olives on both loaves. And the other reason I like to mix them is because if you do one and then do the other, then you're constantly battling with your mind and, oh, that's got too many green, or oh, that's got too many black. If you mix them up, it is what it is. It's the way it's supposed to be. Okay. Every piece. All right. Next, just go through, pat them down. Oven's about ready. Pat them all down. This guy wants to go over here. We're gonna go over here, pat them down. This side got a little, I went a little happy over here. It's all right. Okay. Good enough. All the olives so far are on the bread. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna take a little bit more of that cheese and put the rest on. So I have 2 packages, I have 4 cups. I think I meant to buy the 4 cups and I don't know what I was thinking. And I got 2 cups, so when I went to get my bread, I was like, I'll just get more. So we're just gonna pile the cheese on. You can put on as much or as little as you want. If you just want a little bit of cheese and you want those olives to come through, just sprinkle a little bit more on. If you love the cheese, then put on all of them, but I think 2 cups is gonna be good. I like to show the olives a little bit. Okay, so there we go. And it looks like, again, this side got a little less. Okay, my oven is not quite ready, but whoever waits for their oven, oh, you snuck away. Whoever waits for their oven to completely come to temperature before you throw it in. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put this in the oven like this. We're gonna cook it until, we're gonna melt it, cook it until the cheese is melted. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn the broiler on high. Probably have to move my rack up a little bit. Put the broiler on high for about 3 minutes to get that brown, crusty cheese on there. Okay, so let's get it in the oven. I would say maybe 15-20 minutes. So when we come back, I'll pull it out of the oven, turn it on the broiler, and then cut it up and you can see what it is. Okay, so I just checked our bread and our cheese is melted. So what I'm gonna do is turn off the oven and then set it on broil high. And then I'll show you what it looks like right now. Oh. Now, if you want to stop here, you can, okay? The cheese is melted. I know some kids are very picky about what the cheese looks like if it's brown, but if you want, throw it in the broiler for, I don't know, 3 minutes. Watch it. Sit there and watch it and make sure that it doesn't burn. It's looking perfect. I'm taking it out because I think it's perfect. Oh, goodness. Now, let me show you what this looks like. If you haven't seen delicious on a plate, look at that. See how brown that is? That is perfect. Perfect. You can always go more if you want. You can go less. Like I said, don't even skip the broiler part if you want. But crispy cheese. Okay. So what I'm going to do, turn off your oven. I'm going to move this to our cutting board. That broiling makes such a big difference with everything. anything that has cheese on top, broil it for like 3 minutes. Watch it though. You have to really watch when you broil, because your yummy dinner will go from delicious to really bad very quickly. Okay, now there's a few ways that you can cut this. First off, I want to tell you, I've eaten this as a meal before. It's extremely filling. There's so much bread, and the olives are almost like a meat, the cheese. But anyways, you can have this as a meal. You can serve it alongside spaghetti or lasagna. You can have this in a salad, whatever you want to do. So I'm just gonna kind of separate the cheese a little bit. What you can also do is save half of it, put it in the fridge or freezer, and then thaw it out like you would garlic bread. If you know you're not gonna eat the whole thing, which this is a lot, but I think we got some cheese down there. A couple ways you can cut it. I always use a pizza cutter. You can use a big knife if you want to. I always use a pizza cutter. A couple ways. You can cut this if you're gonna serve larger crowds. Cut each of these in half. My knife would have been better tonight for some reason, but this is dirty, so we're gonna use it. Cut like that all the way down. I'll just go ahead and finish it. Why not? Hear the crunch on the crust. Oh my gosh. Dynamite. And then what you'll do, normally I wouldn't have both these on here. Okay, there we go. Then you can cut these into little snack sizes. That way, if people just want to nibble, they can. Now, if this was a meal, I would just cut them like this. Just like I am, not down the center. So, but however you want to, not a big deal. I'm gonna cut these in little bite-sized pieces. Not bite-sized, a couple bite sizes, I guess, depending on the size of your mouth. And then I'm going to get a plate. And put a couple of these on here. And go stuff them to my little baby boy, Ezra. I don't know if he's hungry, but you don't have to come out of his room later. So thanks for joining me. Enjoy your olive bread.